You all voted for it, and I am here to deliver. Hello, one and all, and welcome to Let's Play Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. Trials and Tribulations. Messed that up a little. You know what? We're gonna roll with it anyway. I can think of no better start to my 100th Let's Play than that. I don't really have much else to say. I'm super excited to play this finally. I'm glad everybody really wants to see me play it. Let's just do this thing, why don't we? I want to play this game. Episode 1, Turnabout Memories. Now, I'm just throwing this out here. I may be incorrect. I may be mistaken. But this might take place in the past. I don't know why I would think that, other than the fact that apparently a character who is very much dead seems to be heavily involved with this. So let's see where this all goes. Play Turnabout Memories? Yes! Let's do this. I am excited. How did I get into this mess? Yes. I believe we've all been in that situation. Why? Why did I do that? Okay, well, that's definitely Phoenix, so this is a problem. That girl, you shouldn't see her anymore. Hey, it's none of your business. I'm telling you for your sake, if you continue to see her, it's gonna be bad news. You're lying. Just listen to me. There's something you need to know about that girl. Stop it! Don't talk about her like that. And then a murder most foul. It wasn't me. I didn't do it. Now, there's a whole mountain of questions I could ask about what I just saw, but there you go. 5 years earlier, Mia Fey, second trial. 5 years earlier than the event we just saw, or 5 years earlier, all of this? Kind of a distinction there. April 11th, 9:40 a.m., District Court, Defendant Lobby number 3. Always this one, never a different one. Also, I am definitely Mia. Yeah, okay, that's really freaking cool. Holy crap, okay. It's finally time. I'm kind of nervous. Hey, it's Grossberg, or Grossberg. I'm not sure how on the nose the pronunciation is supposed to be. Good morning. Mia, please calm yourself down. You're going to get yourself arrested for suspicious behavior, you know. What are you talking about? I am relaxed, Mr. Grossberg. Look at me, I'm relaxed. Wow. Even Mia was all jittery, shaky when she was a newbie. That's pretty funny, actually. Let go of my lapels. You obviously haven't got the temperament to be a lawyer. I'm so sorry. It's just that I'm so nervous today. Oh, that's right. This is your first time in the big leagues, isn't it? Well, never you fear, my dear. I, Marvin Grossberg, am at your service. Actually, this is my second time in court. Still, you surprised me. What with your earnest request last night? Let me handle this case, you suddenly said, and quite forcefully, too. I just found out yesterday. About the case, I mean. What? And you've already learned all the relevant facts? Well, can I look at the relevant facts? Now, we've got our attorney's badge, obviously. The first and last time I wore it was a year ago. Interesting. Date and time of death? For April 9th at 3 p.m. Cause of death was a fatal electric shock. Interesting. Profiles, hello. Wow, Grossberg is 61? Huh. Well, kudos to him. He doesn't look that bad, all things considered. Okay, so my superior and the head of Grossberg Law Offices. Phoenix Wright, age 21. My client, a third-year art student at Ivy University. He currently has a cold. Kinda could gather with the mask. Doug Swallow, age 22. The victim. He was a fourth-year pharmacology student at Ivy University. Also, I just realized, a third-year art student? What? Okay. And Dahlia, I'm going to say, is maybe how you pronounce that? Dahlia Hawthorne. Phoenix Wright's girlfriend. Dated the victim, Doug Swallow, up until 8 months ago. All right, so clearly there's a lot was going on 5 years ago. This is all news to me. Well, All of the relevant facts that are immediately available to me are now known, so there you go. Well, about that, you see, I mean, of course I have, I think. Oh dear. In any case, don't let our client see you're so nervous. You see the poor young man in the pink sweater over there? Can we talk about the pink sweater for a second? That's our client. Also, I guess this is where the costume in Marvel vs. Capcom 3 came from. Cough, sniffle, or rather, good morning there, everybody. Good morning. Try to keep smiling, Mia. I just wanted to say, I'll give it all I've got. Yep, it'll be fine. No prob. Oh. All right, that's a rather nasty cold you got yourself there. What's wrong? You have a cold or something, Mr. Rye? Actually, it's right. Like the Flying Brothers. People screw it up all the time. And yet, he's clearly smiling under that mask. And yes, I have a cold. That's what this mask is for. My doc says this way I won't give it to anyone else. Be kind to others, he says. Right, Mr. Wright, you have nothing to fear in court today. If you are truly innocent, I promise I will save you. Please let go of my shirt. That's right, he's the one on trial, not you. He's the one who should be nervous, and he is. It's really weird seeing Phoenix from this angle. I gotta just immediately throw that out there. You need to stay strong for your client, Mia. My name is Mia Fey. I'm still pretty new at this lawyer thing. I'm going to assume this is internal monologue, otherwise this is very uncomforting things to say to him. The first time I appeared in court was a year ago. But that trial traumatized me so badly I thought I'd never set foot in another courtroom. Okay, well there's the story. How does a trial go so badly you get traumatized to the point of never going back? How does that work? It's been 1 year since then, and, well, here I am. This time I'm going to win. All right, so her last trial is also one that she lost. Good to know. For my client and for myself. April 11th, 10 a.m., District Courtroom number 2. That looked a lot like Payne. We going up against Payne again? Because it seems like he's always the guy that we're going up against. Court is now in session for the trial of Phoenix Wright. That's the sentence I just had to read. Ah, look at Mia. She actually looks younger. I mean, it makes sense she looks younger, but I mean, still, you know what I mean. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. Wow. Apparently, Payne went through a lot in the next 5 years, because his hair situation is definitely better here. The defense today is Miss Mia Fey, was it? Yes, Your Honor. Is there a problem? I was under the impression that Marvin Grossberg was to be leading the defense. Yes, well, you see, Mr. Grossberg had a bit of an emergency. Isn't he standing right next to me? Emergency? But isn't that him standing there right next to you? Yes, well, you're just a rookie. Are you sure you can handle this? Don't let him scare you, Mia. Give him your toughest look. Ooh, that is tough. Of course, Your Honor. I think. Huh. Well, Mr. Payne, your opening statement, please. Well, please don't warble it like one of those door stoppers. Well. And I can't believe a veteran like me has to spend his time babysitting a new defense lawyer. Is he in the record here? He is! He's currently 49 here. Interesting. A veteran lawyer with a little too much confidence. Also, oh my god. You guys seeing that smile? What the hell? Exclamation! Don't worry, little girl. It will all be over soon. Ah, patronizing. Somewhat sexist. Not surprising from the man, I gotta say. What's that all about? Was he trying to trash talk me? Now then, I'd like to proceed with a summary of events of the day in question. The incident occurred on the campus of Ivy University. The murder victim was a student named Doug Swallow, owner of a stylish jacket. He was a fourth-year student studying pharmacology. Sounds like he was a very bright young man. We assume. I don't know. Sometimes we learn things about people when we're doing these sort of trials. Also, I appreciate how the judge doesn't look even slightly different. He never will, and that's exactly how I want him to be. As far as I'm concerned, he was born into this universe that age with that beard, and that's all that matters. Yes, well, we have a photo taken at the scene of the crime. Ooh, all right, let's see here. We've got busted umbrella. We've got snapped electrical cords. That explains the fatal shock. He is on his belly. That's worth noting. Students discovered the scene shortly after the murder. They found the victim's body and the defendant who had obviously bungled his getaway. They then called the police. That certainly makes the defendant look very suspicious indeed. But he's... sorry, my finger rests on that button. I keep accidentally pushing it. Well, seeing as how it's Phoenix Wright, and we know the future from this point, I mean, for the most part, I feel like it's safe to say he did not actually murder this man. That's just my hunch, though. Very well. The court accepts this photo into the record as evidence.
Yay!
I'm sure that'll be useful. By the way, I can't quite tell the cause of death from this photo. Your reputation for sagacity is well earned, Your Honor. Thought you'd trick me with that word, did you? Well, you didn't! The truth is that this victim died a rather unusual death. An unusual death? What do you mean, Mr. Payne? Well, perhaps the defense would like to take this question. Ha! Joke's on you, chump. I looked into it before I came in here, because I'm prepared. Huh? A simple question, and I thought I might loosen you up a bit. I am a genteel man, if you will. A what? Stand up to him, Mia. Show him what you're made of. Ah, a perfect opportunity. Well, what is it? The cause, go on. Please say you know at least this much. I'm so sorry. I didn't get a chance to read through the whole file. Oh, right. This is still a tutorial, because this could conceivably be someone's first game. Okay, well, thanks for sharing. My hemorrhoids are beginning to act up. That's very gross. Thank you. Now see here. The details of the case are filed under the court record, which I already looked at because I'm a smarty pants. But you knew that already, didn't you? The court record. I think I see that by pressing the R button. All of the weapons we need can be found in the court record. Take a good hard look at the data there and think carefully before you answer, my dear. Yes, sir. I'll do just that. I've got to stay calm. I can't let that prosecutor get the better of me. The court record. Okay, let's take a look. I just pressed the R button here. Already did. Don't worry about it, Mia. I got your back, girl. I got your back. Now then, will the attorney for the defense please answer the question? What was the cause of death? It was frickin' electrocution. Ziggity ziggity zap, son. I probably shouldn't say that in a court of law. According to the court record, it was a fatal electric shock. In other words, electrocution. Electrocution? But how could such a thing happen? Did the murderer use some type of new, super powerful stun gun, perhaps? The answer to that will become crystal clear as this trial proceeds, Your Honor. But before that, there is one more vital issue. What's that? Why, motive, of course. Apparently, there was some bad blood between the victim and the defendant. Bad blood? What do you mean? Whoopsie! I'm terribly sorry. You're the defense attorney, so you must know all about it.
Well, I did look into it. Apparently, we're dealing with some kind of lover's quarrel, but with a third party. So, love triangle, I guess. So you must know all about it. I shouldn't be stealing your spotlight like this. I really don't like this guy's smug attitude. That's Winston Payne for you. He is one smooth operator, if you catch my drift. I have literally never seen evidence to support that claim, but if you say so. They don't call him the rookie killer for nothing. Oh, that was Grossberg talking. Now then, let's hear from the defense. What was the source of the bad blood between the victim and the defendant? And this time, I'd like to see some supporting evidence. Evidence? No need to get all worked up over this. As I said, all our weapons can be found in the court record. Find the evidence you need and then shove it in old Graybeard's face. Don't be mean to the judge. He hasn't done anything to deserve that. Yes, sir. Into old Graybeard's face. Mr. Grossberg. Try to set a better example for the young lady. Mia, evidence isn't the only thing in the court record. People's profiles are as well. You can toggle between profile and evidence with the R button, so be sure to go over it all. Now then, let's see what you've got. What was the cause of bad blood? Well, it apparently seems to be this lady. Ooh. Nice voice. The reason for the bad blood between the two of them was this woman here. Dahlia Hawthorne, is it? Very good, Miss Fay. You seem to have picked up on at least this much. Well, if I'm gonna flub any lines, I'm glad it's his. This woman is the girlfriend of the defendant, Phoenix Wright. But up until about 8 months ago, she was with the victim, Mr. Swallow. Clearly, she has some part to play in this story. He's done it again. Before the cross-examination starts, he's already got the judge thinking like he wants. Very well, Mr. Payne. Please call your first witness. If it pleases the court, the prosecution would like to call Mr. Phoenix Wright. What? The defendant himself? Well, Miss Fay? Fine. After all, Mr. Wright is innocent, right? The defense has no objection. Very well. Bang, bang, bang with the hammer. The court calls Mr. Phoenix Wright to the witness stand. You get the impression that Phoenix Wright was somehow more of a dork in college than he is when we met him. Witness, please state your name and occupation. Oh, yes. My name is Phoenix Wright. My job is, well, right now I guess I'm a suspect. No, he means what did you do before you were arrested? Oh, I was a university student. Mr. Wright, you understand? Oh, but I didn't do it. I'm innocent, I tell you. I'm telling you I was... Would the defendant please refrain from passing on his cold to the rest of us? He's wearing a mask. He's being sensible. He's being responsible. He's being a good guy. Would a murderer do such a thing? I don't think so. It seems the witness has something he wants to say. Well then, Mr. Wright, please tell us about your relation to the victim. Right away, Your Honor. Part of me wants to think that he'll actually give a good testimony, but at the same time, something tells me that's likely not going to be the case. I admit I was there, but I'm not a killer. All I did was find his body. I hardly knew the guy to begin with. I never even talked to that stuck-up British wannabe. See, that's a lie. Wow. Huh, I see. So you hardly knew the victim. Right, like I said, I'm not a killer. Huh. Looks like the judge understands. You're being naive, you know. Too naive. Eh? It seems that you've forgotten one small thing, young lady. And that would be... this witness still has to undergo something called cross-examination. Cross-examination? He's right, and it's the defense's duty to carry out the cross-examination. The purpose is to determine if a witness's testimony contains any contradictions, and they literally always do. Contradictions? If a witness is lying, their statement will conflict with the court record. But Mr. Wright is my client. Even if he is your client, in court, all lies must be struck down. As a lawyer, that is your duty, you see. What does he mean by that? Is he saying that testimony just now? That there was a lie? A contradiction? Now then, your cross-examination, if you please, Miss Fay. Please, Mr. Wright, tell me you haven't been lying.
I mean, it was a pretty obvious glaring lie in there.
If you never met the guy, how do you know he's a stuck-up British wannabe? You wouldn't do that to me, would you? If he's afraid for his life? Lies happen when you're afraid for your life. It happens. So you admit you were there? Can you prove it? When you say there, you mean the place where the victim was murdered? Yeah, sort of. The place where something happened anyway. Forgot that was his voice. Something? You can't hide what happened. We have photographic evidence. Anyway, Mr. Wright, what were you doing at the scene of the crime? I thought you said you didn't know the victim, Mr. Swallow. It was just a coincidence. We bumped into each other by accident. A coincidence, huh? That seems unlikely. I'm not a killer. All I did was find the body. I'm gonna need some more information up in here. You say you found the body, so who called the police? Huh? Unfortunately, it was some other students that notified the police. Other students? That's correct. They were witnesses. Dun dun dun! Witnesses who saw the defendant standing there next to the body, in shock. Well, that isn't really the posture of a man in shock, but that's neither here nor there. What? Is this true, Mr. Wright? Could you stop sneezing every time you're in a bind? It's like a nervous tick. Well, it's true that I was pretty shocked when I found the body, but I hardly knew the guy to begin with. Can you prove such a fact? So you didn't know his face or even his name, right?
Right. Well, no. That is, I mean, so, which is it? Did you know him or not? That's you. Now see here, you can't avoid answering the question by sneezing all day. Oh, well, I guess I did know his name. News to me. Why didn't you tell me that before? I heard he used to date Dolly. Who is this Dolly person? Ah, yes, that would be the defendant's lover, Miss Dahlia Hawthorne. Ah, nicknames. Oh, I see. Ah, young love. So bittersweet. But that's all I knew about him. Except for all of this stuff. I never even talked to that stuck-up British wannabe. Yeah, hold up. How do you know so much about him if you don't know him? Mr. Wright, you stated the following in your testimony. I hardly knew the guy to begin with. That's right. I mean, why would I even... But that doesn't sound right. If you hardly knew him, then why would you say that the victim was a stuck-up British wannabe? Well, Mr. Wright? No, it wasn't me. I'm not a killer, I swear. Mr. Wright, I will give you an opportunity to revise your testimony. How is it that you knew the victim was, as you put it, a British wannabe? Yes, well, he was always walking around with a huge Union Jack on the back of his shirt. See, that's a bit of a problem, Phoenix, because, yeah. How would you know that? Ooh, that's a stylish objection. Are you certain you saw the Union Jack? Yeah, I'm sure. It was right there on his back. Miss Fay, is there some point to this line of questioning? Your Honor, please take another look at the crime scene photo. You see any British flag? I don't. As you can see, there's absolutely nothing on the victim's back. Hey, wait a minute. He was wearing a leather jacket. The Union Jack was on the back of the t-shirt he was wearing. I was under the impression that you accidentally came across the body. But if that was really the case, then you wouldn't know that, would you? You'd have no idea at all what he was wearing underneath that jacket. Mr. Wright, you've been lying to me. Oh wow, that's incredibly sad and depressing. Don't cry. Mia, you've made our client cry. Let him. That P on his chest doesn't stand for Phoenix anyway. I was a little worried about what she was gonna say that it was what it did stand for. I can't believe I trusted him. Mr. Wright was all wrong. That was an impressive bit of cross-examination. Thank you for uncovering the defendant's lies for me. It's quite clear that this man did not simply stumble upon the scene of the crime. Oh, did I go too far? By the way, Mr. Wright, you seem to have a rather bad cold. Have you taken any medicine for it? Yeah, I took some, but... Was the medicine that you took an over-the-counter brand called Cold Killer X? Yeah, that's right. It kills colds good. Hey, wait a second. How did you know I'm a big fan of Cold Killer X? Would you happen to know or have that medicine with you right now? Well, actually, I seem to have lost it somewhere. He lost it? Does this even have anything to do with the case? Probably. I doubt he'd bring it up otherwise. Mr. Wright, should I tell you where your cold medicine is right now? Huh? Your Honor, I'd like to take a look at another photo from the crime scene. Ah, well, that's a bit of a problem. What's this? In the victim's hand, it's Cold Killer X. Hold the gramophone. Yes, but even I've got a bottle of Cold Killer X in my apartment. I'm sorry, but I'm afraid that argument won't work. There's no doubt as to who this bottle of Cold Killer X belongs to, especially since Mr. Wright's fingerprints are all over it. Egads! Mouth unorthodox. Sensing his murderous intent, Mr. Swallow must have picked up the bottle of medicine, dropped by Mr. Wright, and hid it in his hand. His purpose in doing so only has to be to identify his killer as Phoenix Wright. Did it, like, fall out of his pockets or something? And I guess if you're in the middle of dying, you don't really have much choice on what you're going to do for the purposes of trying to let people know who killed you, but why? Grabbing a bottle of cold medicine? Cold medicine, murder. That seems a little far-fetched to me. Order in the court. Your Honor, I'd like to present this photo and bottle as evidence. Very well. The court will accept them into the record. Well, I got more stuff to work with at least.
Also, the victim's wristwatch was broken. I didn't actually get a good look at that. Hold up. Yeah, okay. Good to know, good to know. Yes, it ceased functioning when a large wave of electricity passed through it. Well, Mr. Wright, do you have some kind of explanation for all of this? This is really bad.
Oh, my buttocks. My poor hemorrhoids.
Why must you share these things? What really happened? The truth is, I went because he called me. He was in the pharmacology department, so we agreed to meet at 2:45 behind that building. We talked for a bit, and then at around 3, we split up. Then later, when I went back, I found him lying there. I'd been taking Cold Killer X for the last 2 or 3 days, but I lost my bottle of it around lunchtime on the day of the accident.
Mr. Wright, that's completely different from the testimony you gave previously. I'm sorry, Your Honor. I was afraid you wouldn't believe the truth.
You'll forgive me if I say I hardly find your current testimony any more credible.
Miss Fay, please begin your cross-examination. Oh, please, Mr. Wright, don't tell any more lies. Everybody always lying to me. Why must they be this way?
All right. Why did he call you?
Had you ever met the victim before then?
No, never. But that day he called me up and told me he wanted to talk about Dolly.
And this Dolly Parson is it's kind of embarrassing. She's my sweetheart. Oof. What was that for, Mia? Huh? Oh, I'm so sorry. I just felt like slapping something all of a sudden. Okay. Not sure what that's about.
Dahlia Hawthorne was also the lover of the murder victim, Doug Swallow. Before she met Mr. Wright, that is.
So it was one of those nasty love triangles, I see. I mean, conceivably.
He was in the pharmacology department, so we agreed to meet at 2:45.
Was it Mr. Swallow who indicated you should meet at 2:45?
Yeah, and we were both there right on time.
You said the victim was in the pharmacology department, correct?
Yeah, he was studying how to manufacture and improve pharmaceuticals. Everyone called him the alchemist of IVU.
An alchemist? I see.
I gotta admit, it was a little suspicious. He had a whole laboratory and everything. It was filled with chemicals and strange machines that run on high voltage electricity.
Ah, ho, how fascinating. Sounds like he was quite an ambitious young man.
What do I do? Maybe I should ask him for more details about the timing.
I'm curious about the pharmacology department. If you could talk more about those electrical thingamabobos, we have a stronger connecting thread with how he died and whatnot.
I was wondering if you could tell us a bit more about the pharmacology department.
Well, okay, sure. I don't know all that much, though. A little bit earlier in your testimony, you said something interesting. You said the department uses strange machines that run on high voltage electricity?
That's right.
And they sure look dangerous. They use non-standard voltages, so there are high voltage cables everywhere.
High voltage cables.
Yeah, there were electrical poles set up all around the building. The high voltage cables run overhead around the roof. Finally, I think we're getting somewhere. This is good info. All right. I know that that's not the case, though. So what was it you were talking about?
Yeah, you know, achoo. That maybe we should hang out again sometime.
Hang out again sometime? I wish that were true. It most certainly was not. Okay, well, why on earth would you go back? So you say you went back. Yeah, that's when I found the body.
Yes, but why did you go back in the first place? Weren't you angry with him?
Well, that's right, I was. Then why, Mr. Wright? Then why did you go back there? I thought maybe we could make up. Judging by the atmosphere, I'm pretty sure no one is buying that. Whew, boy. You've been taking Cold Killer X for the last 2 or 3 days and you're still this sick? It's rather unusual to catch a cold this time of the year, isn't it? Yeah, I always get a little careless when the weather starts to warm up. I guess I shouldn't sleep with the window open this early in spring, huh? I suppose common sense is not always common. So, did anyone else know that you were taking cold medicine? Well, I always took one after meals, so I'm pretty sure all my friends knew about it. Interesting. You talk about Larry? Is Larry here? I lost my bottle of it around lunchtime.
That's an interesting factoid. On the day of the incident, what did you do for lunch? Huh? What does that have to do with anything? You can never be too sure. I always eat with Dolly, just the two of us. Dolly's homemade lunches are just the greatest. Her mini omelets are magically delicious. That's trademarked. I don't think you can say that. Youch! Why did you just punch me in the jaw? Oh, I'm so sorry. I just felt like hurting someone all of a sudden. Does Mia have an issue with people in relationships? I'm not entirely sure how to really roll with that. I think that's enough for now. So the defendant and the victim met at approximately the time of his death. And then the defendant returned to the scene for some unknown reason. I'm not entirely convinced by his explanation about the medicine bottle either. Let me be frank here, Mr. Wright. Your testimony cannot be trusted. What do you mean? I knew it was too much work for a little girl. Could you stop being so patronizing? However, there is one mystery that still remains. There is, Your Honor? How the murder was carried out, of course. Just how was the victim electrocuted? I don't believe the murder weapon has been produced yet, correct? Well, technically, for the record. Well, that is, You are correct, Your Honor. Ho-hum, I think to myself. So how exactly was Mr. Swallow killed? If I could somehow establish how it was done, maybe I could still come out of this mess smelling like a rose. I could establish the murder method real easy like. Your Honor. Yes, Miss Faye? I believe that if we were to piece together everything we've heard up until now, we should be able to solve the mystery of how Mr. Swallow died. That would be most impressive. Quite the brash statement coming from a rookie. But even a beginner like you must understand the basic rules of the court, yes? An attorney must be able to substantiate their arguments with evidence. Of course I know that. Actually, I'd totally forgotten about that. Oh, how rough. Now then, Miss Faye, let me see what you've got. Show me how you believe the victim was electrocuted. Well, let's take a look at this here, this here crime photo. Take a gander at this. As for the cause of death, I'd say this picture captures it quite well. What? I mean, do you not see the sparks shooting out of that broken wire? There's nothing that even remotely resembles a murder weapon here. Well, I mean, an umbrella can be used for murder, but we know that wasn't a stabbing, or a bludgeoning, I suppose. It could be either. I'm afraid the defense is going to have to explain this in a bit more detail. Miss Faye, where exactly is the photo, in this photo is the weapon? It would be right here. Well, naturally, it's right here. What is that? A severed electrical cable, I believe, Your Honor. Remember the testimony we've heard? The machines the pharmacology student used in their experiments require high voltage. Because of that, there are special high voltage cables strung up everywhere. So then, the high voltage cable? Yes, the high voltage cable is the cause of death. That is the most likely explanation. Huh. Well, that certainly sounds plausible. But did Phoenix somehow cut an electrical cable and zap him with it? Because that doesn't really seem too likely. Well, Mr. Payne, what do you have to say about this? Well, I believe some praise is in order. Don't toy with me, old man. Now, the victim's cause of death may indeed have been a high voltage cable. However, I want you to think about what that really implies. The only one who had the opportunity to use the cable as a murder weapon was the defendant. Too. That much is certainly true. Yes, and that's not all. We have proof. Irrefutable proof that will establish that Mr. Wright was the murderer. You do? Well, what is it? His fingerprints. Fingerprints? You mean that the defendant's fingerprints were on something besides the medicine bottle? Let's take another look at the crime scene photo. Look at this noise. As you can see, the victim is wearing a leather jacket. And as you may know, leather holds fingerprints quite well. That's just convenient. You mean... Yes, it was quite clearly imprinted on the chest area of the victim's jacket. The palm print of the defendant's very own hand. Bah? I can only think of one way Mr. Wright could have left a print like that. Intent on murder, he squarely pushed the victim towards the severed electrical cable. Wait, the cable was already severed beforehand? So there was just a busted high voltage electric cable writhing and shooting sparks out the entirety of their discussion.
And they decided, hey, yeah, maybe we shouldn't have our conversation next to this thing. They just kind of played it off like it was no big deal. That's a little weird, ain't it? Order, order, order. That's enough. I think we can conclude that there is no reason to continue with this cross-examination. Stick a fork in us. We're done. Mr. Grossberg, my hemorrhoids never lie. The show is over, Mia. That's disgusting. I knew that boy was guilty the first time I saw him. Wow, you're not a very good lawyer. No, you're wrong. Mr. Wright is innocent. No further evidence is required to convince me of this man's guilt. Your Honor! At this time, I'm prepared to render a verdict in this case. Unless... Aha! Do you have something further to add, Miss Fay? Is this what you want, Mr. Wright? You still haven't told us the truth. The whole truth. If you don't say something now, the judge is going to hand down his verdict. But I can't say it. If I told you what really happened, then I'd be... It's okay, Mr. Wright. I'm your attorney. You can trust me. Ah! Miss Fay, no matter what it is you have to say, I believe in you and I'll represent you to the very end. I wonder if this will have any profound effects on Phoenix in the future. Maybe convince him to change his major. We've already established the defendant's guilt. There's no further need for him to say anything. Wait a minute. Mr. Wright, I'll tell you what really happened. But I've already told you, Mr. Wright, there's no need for further cough. I did it. In that you pushed him. I admit it, I pushed him. It's my fault. My fault that Doug Swallow is dead. I doubt this. That girl, you shouldn't see her anymore. Hey, it's none of your business. I'm telling you for your sake. If you continue to see her, it's gonna be bad news. You're lying. Just listen to me. There's something you need to know about that girl. Stop it! Don't talk about her like that. Oh, the push. Okay, well, I immediately see a problem right then and there. Dude landed on his back when he got pushed, but he's laying on his tum-tum on the picture. What you just said, was that the truth? Yes, I was afraid that if I told the truth, everyone would think I was the murderer for sure. Well, as things currently stand, we're absolutely convinced you are. Please give me one more chance to explain. This time I swear I'll tell the whole truth. It'll be okay, won't it, Miss Fay? I believe in you. Oh, thank you? I still can't believe it. You really did push the victim. Ugh, feels like my hemorrhoids are doing the Harlem Shake, excuse me? Didn't this game come out in like, I mean, I'm playing a remaster, but didn't this game come out in like 2004? Was the Harlem Shake a thing before it was a thing on the internet? Huh. All right, I had no idea. When I pushed the victim. That guy, he was talking bad about Dolly. So I push him. And the pee on my sweater vanished. I lost my temper and gave him a shove. At that moment, I heard some kind of loud noise. A little while after I left, I started to get worried. So I went back, but he was just lying there dead. Well, that explanation is really quite simple. When you pushed him, Mr. Swallow flew back and touched the electrical cable. He died from the shock, and that, as they say, is that. A simple explanation indeed. At the time of the incident, a light rain had been falling. Wet from the rain, the victim was more easily electrocuted. But when I pushed him, there weren't any electrical cables nearby. If there had been something like that, even I would have noticed it. That is true. Even a doofus like him couldn't miss that. Miss Fay, let me warn you right now, this is if your cross-examination doesn't yield any new facts, I intend to deliver my verdict without further delay. Are we clear on that? Yes, Your Honor. Don't give up, Mia. If he is innocent, there must be some kind of evidence somewhere that will prove it. That's the hope, at least. Here's a hope, and here's a hope, and here's a hope, and for that. What kind of bad things was he talking about? What kind of things did Mr. Swallow say to you as I accidentally opened the court record?
He said all sorts of terrible things about Dolly. He said that she was a bad girl.
Is that all?
Yep.
Well, Miss Faye, you heard him yourself.
Oh boy, you're not doing yourself any favors here, Mr. Wright. Please don't make this harder for me than it already is.
Anyway, after he said that, I gave him an old shove, I done did.
Can you tell me about what happened in a little more detail?
That guy, he just said what he wanted to say to me.
And then he put on the jacket he was holding and started to leave.
He wasn't wearing his jacket, but he had an umbrella. How do you put on a jacket while holding an umbrella? Stop hitting the button, doofus! That's when I lost my temper and flew into a furious frenzy and gave him a push. And he landed on his back. And yeah, no wires. I just gave him a light, gentle shove to the chest. But he went flying. This man is a light man. And when he did that, there was no severed cable anywhere to be seen? Right. There was nothing like that at all. If there was, I really would like to think that the people involved wouldn't be standing next to it.
But is it possible that you merely overlooked it?
Well, I mean, I guess it's possible. What are you doing? Don't let the guy steamroll over you like cheap asphalt. I believe what's important here is the moment the push occurred. Let's continue on with the testimony, witness. Aye. What kind of loud noise did you hear, y'all? A loud noise? What would you say that loud noise was, Mr. Wright? I'm not sure, but it was really loud. It was like snap. You know, come to think of it, I wonder what that was. Clearly, Your Honor, it was the sound of the victim being electrocuted. I don't think electrocution sounds like a snap. You're not qualified to decide that. What should I do? I'm treading on some dangerous ground here. Now, I gotta ask for more details on this. It's pretty much the only thing I've got going for me. Mr. Wright, that loud noise you heard may be extremely important, so try to remember what it was. How do I put it? It was like a sharp crack. Could it have been? Yes, could it have been? Hurry up and tell us. When I pushed him, he dropped the umbrella he was holding. Some Street Fighter 2 knockout animation. He fell right on top of it and it broke. That was probably the noise I heard. But if he landed on top of, that's not the right one. If he landed on top of his umbrella and broke it, then why is it all the way over there? I mean, it's still broken, obviously, but why is it moved? And why is he on his belly? These are the questions. An umbrella, huh? And did that umbrella belong to the victim? Yeah, it was a plastic umbrella, cheap and frail, kind of like the owner. Damn, savage. Then again, I wish I had any kind of umbrella. I was totally soaked to the bone. Miss Faye? What do you think? Is there something important in that testimony just now? Well, I'm gonna go ahead and say, yeah. This is it, Mia. The new information you've been waiting for. Of course it's important. No, this cheap umbrella is more than important. It's vital. I want to officially have it entered into the testimony. How perfectly fitting. Flimsy information for a flimsy lawyer.
Yeah, well, at least I don't got no flimsy haircut.
The court agrees to the defense's request. Witness, please add the bit about the cheap umbrella to your testimony. What can I do with this? He fell down on top of his cheap umbrella. Well, let's hold it first. I ain't presented nothing until I get more info. So Mr. Swallow fell on top of his umbrella. Are you certain of this? Yeah, it was right there under him. And actually, if it hadn't been under him, I was planning on borrowing it for myself. The umbrella, you mean? Yeah, well, yeah, you see, I was wearing the sweater here. Dolly stayed up late for nights at a time knitting it for me. And I didn't want the rain to dampen the handmade symbol of our love. My stomach is not to be used as your personal soccer ball, Mia. I'm so sorry. Why do you keep hitting him for that? That's so weird. Continue on with your witness testimony. Or continue with your witness testimony witness. That probably makes sense. Okay, well, hang on. Okay, well, he fell down on top of his umbrella. And the fact of the matter is, this picture shows him not on top of the umbrella. So, that's where I'm going with. The music stopped, so I think I did it right. Why didn't you testify about the umbrella from the very beginning? Come on. If I had mentioned that, I would have been able to counter the prosecution's arguments earlier. What do you mean by that? Take another look at the crime scene photo. You big doofus. According to Mr. Wright, the victim fell on top of his umbrella. However, if you look closely,
The umbrella is nowhere near the victim. Actually, it's by the electrical pole. You're absolutely right. The conclusion here is obvious. After the defendant left, the victim moved from where he fell. In other words, after he was pushed by the defendant, Mr. Swallow was still alive. Ika! Oop, his hair went all kafloof. Order, order, order. The victim, he moved? Mr. Payne, the umbrella in this photo. Where is it now? Well, it was collected by the police at the crime scene. I want to present it as evidence immediately.
Yay!
But the umbrella could have simply been blown there by the wind. According to the testimony, the victim fell on top of the umbrella. How would it have flown out from under his body if that were the case? Also, how did he spin onto his stomach? There's simply no way it could have been blown there by the wind. But I know this matter of the umbrella seems relatively trivial, but as long as the smallest doubt remains, I cannot render final judgment. Yes. No! Bada bing, bada boom, I've delayed it. I must say, I still find it hard to believe that a huge hole has been blown in the prosecution's case by the defendant's testimony.
Yeah!
I got it now. Well done, Mia. I thought we were doomed. Oh. Mr. Payne, what are you chuckling about? Pardon me, Your Honor. It seems I was expecting too much of a free ride. It was foolish to think I could establish guilt through cross-examination alone. I'm afraid I don't follow what you're saying. Let me guess. You have another witness.
If I had to guess, it's probably this Dahlia girl.
Exactly. And this witness's testimony will be incontrovertible. Said that as wrong as I possibly could have. Well, who's the witness? Miss Dahlia Hawthorne. Dahlia Hawthorne? You don't mean Dolly? I do, Your Honor. The defendant's very own lover is a witness to the whole thing. That's right. She was at the scene of the crime when the murder took place. What? Say what? I'm sorry to break the bad news to you, my dear. I don't think you are at all. Oh. Sassy. Bad news. You couldn't be more wrong. Actually, I've been waiting for this. You can't be serious. Mia, what do you mean by that? I think this is a good point for us to stop at. Court will now enter a 20-minute recess, for I wish to play hopscotch. Afterwards, we will listen to the testimony of Miss Dahlia Hawthorne. Maybe a little bit of Foursquare. Well, how about that? Miss Faye, I'm sorry about what happened back there. It's all right. At least you told us the truth in the end, Mr. Wright. Yeah. So I guess I can start to relax then, huh? Relax, my boy. You can't be serious after hiding such important facts. But the next witness is my Dolly, right? She'll save me. I just know she will. Why do I get the feeling that she won't? Why do you think that? Huh? What do you mean? She's the love of my life, that's why. The love of your life, huh? Would you mind telling me more about you and Miss Dahlia Hawthorne? Sure, no problem. Dahlia and I, we first met about 8 months ago, right here in this very courthouse. What were either of you doing in this courthouse? Although that is an adorable picture. Actually, I'm studying to be a lawyer on the side. Anyway. So wait, hang on. You majored in art, but minored in law? That's a very interesting combo, I hope you realize. One day, she and I just bumped into each other in the reading room downstairs. That's why I really think it was fate that brought us together. As soon as I first set eyes on her, I knew she was the one for me. Oh, here, take a look at this. She gave this to me the day we met as a symbol of our love. That's an interesting thing to just randomly give someone you just met. She had been wearing it around her neck that day, but then she took it off. But before she gave it to me, she said, I want you to carry this. So she gave it to you as a present. I see. This darling little bottle is filled with memories of my darling little Dolly. Man, it's sickeningly sweet. It certainly is a little bottle, all right. It makes me so happy, I show it to everyone I meet. I'm gonna share my happiness with the whole world. Huh. That's probably relevant. Anyway, so after that, you and Miss Hawthorne started dating? Yeah, but she's so shy. Every time I see her, she always says the same thing to me. Please give it back now. That's an incredibly suspicious thing to say. What a strange girl, asking for a present back like that. By the way, Mr. Wright, the day you first met Dahlia Hawthorne 8 months ago, it wouldn't happen to have been on August 27th, would it? Huh? Yeah, it was. But how did you... This happened on August 27th, right here in this courthouse. What's this? A newspaper clipping? Let's see. Murder in the courthouse? Murder? What are you reading there? Let me see that. Oh, I see. Mia, I think I understand what you're trying to say. And I think I understand why you suddenly took such a keen interest in this case. You believe there's some connection between these two cases, am I correct? Thank you. I'm just gonna take a quick look-see-gander if you don't mind. Very little information disclosed at the time, since the victim of yesterday's incident in the district courthouse cafeteria is said to have been a lawyer. However, police are questioning the 19-year-old female college student who was sitting with the victim. I see. 19-year-old female college student. 8 months ago. 20. So this girl was involved in a different crime 8 months ago. I wonder if there's a connection. I need to finish this myself. Ah, yes, but I'm afraid what you have will not be enough, my dear. I'll go and have a look in the downstairs reading room and see what I can find. Thank you. I want to do whatever I can to be of help to you, Mia. And if talking about my hemorrhoids isn't enough, then I'm going to find something else. Well, looks like recess is about over. We'd better get moving. I guess so. That recess sure seemed longer than 20 minutes, though.
It's actually a whole lot shorter.
To be continued? Wow. A tutorial case cut up into 2 different parts? That's kind of insane, really. Huh. Well, alrighty then. I guess we'll take a break here. That's kind of how I usually do this sort of thing. I hope you guys enjoyed the first part of all of this. In the next part, well, I think we know who actually committed the crime. And it appears to be a serial offender. So, this is probably going to be a bit more difficult than I'm kind of used to with case 1 of games. But I guess we'll see. Hope you enjoyed yourselves. I'll see you all then.